What's the situation with the flooding, first of all, where you are?
G'day, Tom. Well, at the moment, it is easing. We're seeing a reduction in the rain, but the big issue now is getting into communities. So the immediate communities in Cairns, our northern beaches, have suffered significantly. We've got about 300 people in various shelters throughout the city. So Machans Beach, Holloways, right up to Port Douglas. There's a lot of damage in Port Douglas, road infrastructure. So we've gone from that rescue mode to start looking at recovery, which is a positive step. And we're also looking at deploying significant assets, meaning we couldn't use helicopters for the last literally since the rain event took place. The clouds were too low. It was too risky, so we couldn't use any of those assets. So we've been using swiftwater rescue teams throughout the region. We're very pleased to say that they have been very successful. So now it's looking at the infrastructure and getting into communities, particularly north of Port Douglas, so around Mossman and up into Wudgel. So these are communities which access is difficult. So we'll have air access, which will be important. So certainly moving into the recovery. I know we still will have a few more storms coming through the next 24 hours, but that significant rainfall. And it's unprecedented. We've had over 1,900 millimetres of rain in the old term. That's over 6 foot of rain in just 4 days. So absolutely unprecedented.
You obviously, the big thought initially was on recovery, but with your tourism hat on, are you going to be looking around to see what areas might need a bit of government assistance to get back on their feet? For some areas, it's going to be, or some businesses, maybe weeks or months without operating in a pretty key period.
Yeah, Tom, we've the Cairns region itself is a significant tourism destination. We get over 2 million domestic tourists, and internationally we get over 800,000, nearly a million prior to COVID. So tourism is a fundamental part of our economy. So as a resident, I've spent 30 years in the tourism industry up here myself. I've spoken to the Treasurer, I've spoken to the Premier about this. Our expectation is that there will be packages made available, not just to the tourism operators, but also to other commercial operators. The impact of these, not just the cyclone, but obviously the aftermath have been significant. So we're certainly going to be looking at getting assistance in a range of areas.
Okay, we'll see where that lands. Talking to you as Sports Minister as well, one of the final acts of the Palaszczuk government was an announcement on what the Brisbane Lions and Queensland Cricket would do while the Gabba's redeveloped, except they only had a solution for a third of the money, the $150 million. Do you need to do better on a solution, and do you agree it's up to the state government to help out those two codes while they're dealing with this? Because otherwise they could really struggle.
Well, Tom, the first thing is that I'm looking forward to getting a brief. I technically should be getting sworn in today. Obviously, that's not happening. My priorities are with my constituents here. I intend to get a brief on that in the coming days when I can get to Brisbane. Our airport is still closed, but I need to be here until things have got back to some sense of normality before I go down and get sworn in. But just on that, look, I think from my understanding at this stage, everybody has a responsibility and a role to play here. So I'd like to sit down. I'd like to familiarise myself with the intimate details. And then at that stage, I'd like to be able to make some informed decisions.
But in that principle, the state government, which wants the Olympics, is going to be huge for that city. It needs to make sure the other sports can still prosper. Do you agree? I'm not saying you need to pay for the entire bit, but you've got to shepherd through something that actually helps those sports through that period where the Gabba's unavailable.
Look, I think you'll find that the state government has always assisted those sports, and we have a responsibility in those areas. So when we're talking about the Gabba redevelopment, we will obviously do everything in our power to ensure we can assist those sports, as we always have. I need to get across the brief, so until I do, I'm really not in a position to make any other comments.
We might talk down the track. It seemed things were left a little bit on edge between a few of the parties, but new government can do wonders for that, or at least a new look government. Minister, appreciate your time today. I'm not sure if you call you that yet. You'll soon be a minister, but we'll say that anyway. Thanks for your time.
Thanks very much, Tom. All the best. And just quickly, once the rain has gone and we're fixed up, everybody's welcome to Cairns and Queensland for a holiday. Thank you.
I'm sure they'll be back.